This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
The politicians and stuff out here that's talking and the people, it's not helping the community.
People who live in neighborhoods impacted by crime are fed up with talk. They want to see action. So we go to some of Indy's most vulnerable neighborhoods and ask what can be done to end the violence.
We've got an epidemic in Indianapolis of gun violence.
And much of the deadly crime is the result of gun violence. We examine a failed ordinance that was designed to help police tackle this issue, why it did not work, and if any legislation can help.
A winter weather advisory just issued. We'll talk about snowfall amounts and, more importantly, the timing.
A woman takes legal action after she suffered life-altering injuries because of a dump truck crash. Why she says the driver and the company should be held accountable.
Only on RTV6, the action being taken after 4 teachers report serious health illnesses at a local elementary school, and the message to teachers, students, and their families tonight.
First at 6 o'clock, we're tracking snow, rain, and sleet, and it's all expected to arrive tomorrow. People are bundled up right now, and it's still dry outside, but that's going to change.
Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory has been tracking this system for us, and a winter weather advisory has just been issued, Kevin.
And so what's interesting for tomorrow, maybe you've seen some wild range in snowfall predictions for tomorrow. The challenge is this. We've got to decide how much of this moisture that arrives is going to come in the form of rain and how much in snow. There's a lot of moisture to work with, in most cases around 0.6 of an inch. Southern half of the state most likely to stay all rain, meaning as you go south of Indy, snowfall potential diminishes quickly. I think the rain-snow line will be somewhere right around the metro area. And what I'm saying by rain-snow line, north of that is where the accumulating snow becomes most likely, and in this 2 to 5 inch range, it will be a heavy wet snow on the onset in the afternoon, but dry at the bus stop in the morning. Different story in the afternoon. Snow around, temperature at 35 degrees. And just to show you, first thing in the morning, there's the gray of cloud cover by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There's the burst of snow, lowering visibility, quick cover on the roadways. We'll follow this line, the rain-snow line, when I come back in just a little bit.
As police continue to investigate several recent homicides and city leaders share their plans for addressing violence, frustration among community members continues to grow.
We saw that frustration firsthand when a crowd interrupted a downtown press conference yesterday afternoon. Some saying their voices were not being heard. So today, RTV6's Megan Sanctorum went into one of the city's most vulnerable neighborhoods to talk to the people there, and she found out what they think needs to be done to reduce violent crime.
Community is going down. Deplorable.
That's how some people living on the northeast side of Indianapolis describe the state of their neighborhood.
There's a lot of killing going on.
The community is still dealing with the loss of 4 young adults after a quadruple homicide last week. Many living in the area say poverty and violence are not new to this community, and they're frustrated with some local leaders.
People downtown want to give you what they think you need instead of asking you what you really need.
Some people living in this area say they know better than anyone else what the community needs, and they feel like their voices are not being heard.
Yesterday, the mayor went up to Broad Ripple to talk about the state of the community. Broad Ripple's doing fine. We're dying over here.
So we asked residents what their community needs.
There's no stores for the seniors or people to shop and stuff. There's no drugstores. They closed them all down. We need transportation.
These young people can't get down to the unemployment office to get the trades or the skills that they need. Bring them to them.
So the Community Alliance of the Far East Side is working to change that. But leaders say they can't always keep up with the need.
There's a poverty crisis for sure. We're doing all that we can. It's just a matter of a capacity issue. The Far East Side is a large boundary. We're supposed to service over 40,000 residents. That's something that one side can't do alone.
Those living here say they just hope change comes sooner than later.
If they don't listen, what they're going to have is more shootings, more distraught families.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
And tonight, IMPD is taking action in an effort to solve two recent high-profile murders in Indianapolis. Officers are still looking for the person responsible for the murder of a Subway restaurant employee on Shadeland Avenue on January 27th. And police are also trying to solve a quadruple homicide that left 4 young adults dead at the Carriage House East Apartments last week. That's near 42nd and Mithofer. So for the next 48 hours, the number to IMPD's homicide unit will be staffed to take tips about either crime. That number is 317-327-3475. Reporting to that number is not anonymous. If you need to remain anonymous, call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS. And the IMPD Chief of Police, Randall Taylor, just tweeted out this picture. In the tweet, he says, quote, "I'm here in the IMPD homicide office preparing to take calls on the temporary tip line." Again, that number is 317-327-3475.
RTV6 is learning there was once an ordinance designed to help curb crime. Our Troy Washington is working for you to explain why it didn't last and if legislation is needed to combat the crime trend.
As flashing red and blue lights brighten neighborhoods overshadowed by constant crime, the mystery remains, how do we stop these murders from happening?
We've got an epidemic in Indianapolis of gun violence, and the fact that we can't do anything to combat that makes no sense to me whatsoever.
25 murders already, and it's just the start of 2020. Back in 2015, Kip 2 was a city councilman. He took a look at the crime problem and saw a need for an ordinance to help investigators since so many crimes were being committed with stolen guns.
It wasn't the answer to our gun violence by any stretch of the imagination, but it was definitely one more tool that they could use to help them in fighting crime, tracking guns, tracking what's going on in this community.
A 2011 state law preempts local governments from regulating firearms and ammunition. The city mayor at the time found the ordinance concerning. The ordinance was vetoed by Mayor Greg Ballard, but would have required gun owners to report their guns stolen within 48 hours of the theft or pay a fine.
I do not buy that any city ordinance or state law that would do anything to curb these criminals from doing criminal acts.
Greg Burge runs Beach Grove Firearms. He worked more than 2 decades with IMPD, chasing criminals and putting bad guys behind bars. He doesn't think an ordinance giving gun owners extra responsibility is what's needed to curb crime.
I don't see how the two bridge each other to solve anything.
Two and Burge might disagree on how to go about slowing down the crime surge, but both agree keeping guns out of the wrong hands is the goal. Two says it was never about regulating guns or violating a state law, but always about public safety.
Having talked to current counselors, there's definitely some talk about reviving it and potentially looking at it again.
Working for you, Troy Washington, RTV6.
And as of right now, the Indianapolis mayor's office says a new ordinance is not on its radar.
A chase in Lawrence leads to a police-involved shooting. The Lawrence Police Department says officers were chasing a van. They say the 2 suspects inside were believed to be involved in a shoplifting incident at a clothing store on Pendleton Pike. The chase came to an end on East 56th Street and Brendan Park Drive near I-465. Lawrence police say one of the suspects, a man, got out of the van, which led to a confrontation between that man and an officer. That's when investigators say one Lawrence officer shot and hit the man. The suspect is expected to survive. Police arrested the second suspect in the van. Lawrence police tell us the 2 people in the van did not shoot at any officer, and it's not clear if either person was armed. An investigation into the police-involved shooting is underway.
An Indianapolis woman says her life changed in the blink of an eye after a dump truck crashed into her SUV. Now she's filed a lawsuit against the driver and the trucking company. Sue Ann Bodine was paralyzed from the waist down in the September 3rd crash on Rockville Road in Avon. Court records show Danny Williams was behind the wheel of that dump truck, and he told police that he'd been snorting heroin. Sue Ann filed a lawsuit against Williams and the trucking company North American Environmental Services based out of Zionsville. The lawsuit alleges the dump truck was underinsured and the company negligently hired and supervised Williams, and that Williams failed to operate his commercial motor vehicle with reasonable care. Sue Ann now relies on round-the-clock nursing care. Her medical bills are mounting.
Just little things, daily life things. You know, I want to hop in my car. Just be normal again.
As Call 6 Investigates reported, Williams had at least 25 violations on his driving record. And in 2015, the state suspended his CDL for a year after Williams was convicted of driving while intoxicated. We reached out to Williams and the trucking company for a response. So far, we have not received any statements from them.
Only on RTV6, a health concern at an Indianapolis elementary school. We are learning that the investigation into the serious illnesses will begin tomorrow with on-site interviews with the staff. Call 6 Investigates Rafael Sanchez is also finding out about the timeline that led to the call to action.
The focus is on the Blue and Gold Academies off of Man Road in Indianapolis, home to 147 staff members and 1,396 students in elementary grades. The health concerns involve 4 teachers at the school, all women. In August 2019, a teacher was diagnosed with a head-related tumor, another teacher in September, and another this past January. Those cases within 6 months of each other, joining a separate case involving another teacher with a tumor in 2018.
We wanted to be proactive and, again, bring in someone to actually look through and vet this out to determine if there was anything. If there is, then we'll obviously address it.
The latest incident in January was reported to the school on Tuesday, January the 28th. Superintendent Matt Prosecki was alerted on Thursday, January the 30th, which led to him looking for a company to handle the situation. On Monday, February the 3rd, Avon-based PH2 LLC laid out the scope of its planned work, which will include checking out everything from the school's air quality to interviewing staff, which is voluntary.
Of course, as a third party, I thought that was important. The fact that we're not conducting this ourselves as a school district. We have nothing to hide, but they're going to go through all facets of the facility. I say land, building, and air, but also interviewing staff, really looking comprehensively of every aspect possible to vet out any possibility that there's any connection that would impact student, staff, health.
The goal of the testing is to calm fears and, if necessary, to take action based on the results. Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
And the school district says it will take months to complete the investigation that could lead to testing. PH2 LLC is setting up a hotline soon so people can share information that could shed more light on this case. You can find our full report on this developing story right now on the RTV6 app and our website, theindychannel.com.
Finding good childcare is a problem for many families out there.
And that's why so many people are turning to nannies. It's a job that is in high demand. We introduce you to a woman who left the corporate world to become a nanny. What you should know.
We've been waiting a year for Vic's return. Now that he's back, he's really back. It's Vic
on 6.
On 6, coming up here on RTV6.
Snow on 6 during the day tomorrow. Let's talk about all these colors that you see behind me. They represent a winter weather advisory. Looks like 2 to 5 inch snowfall potential with higher amounts in the northern portion of the state. All the details and what comes after the snow coming up.
2 clinical trials.
This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
Hiring Hoosiers is RTV6's effort to connect you to jobs and the education needed to get those jobs. And finding childcare is a problem for many people, and it can impact your job.
And yesterday, we looked into a company that does the legwork for you when it comes to hiring a nanny. And that company is looking to hire. Today, Meredith Barrick speaks to a nanny who once worked in the corporate world and was in need of a major change.
I graduated college and didn't know the exact career path I wanted to go, but I did take a corporate job.
Michaela Minnick says she was sitting at a computer for 8 to 9 hours a day when she realized it wasn't where she was supposed to be.
I wasn't fulfilled in my last job and wasn't fulfilled personally.
That's when a friend recommended Indy Nanny Concierge.
I always loved kids, and I've had past jobs, you know, daycare, camp counselor, things like that.
But she never thought childcare could be a career.
The light bulb that kind of went off was when I met with Morgan, and I realized realize maybe this is something I can do.
Michaela has now worked for the Slaybaugh family for a year, taking care of little Parker and her big brother Landon.
It's changed my life, and that's all I can really say about that, is that it's been the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. Knowing that I get to come to work every day to these cute kids, and knowing that I get to help, develop their brains and their hearts in just everyday life.
And while the job isn't necessarily traditional, she doesn't regret taking the leap from the corporate world to childcare.
You are not fulfilled in what you're doing. That's okay. You're allowed to change.
Working for you, Meredith Barrick, RTV6.
And if you're someone interested in making a similar transition as Michaela, you can contact Indy Nanny Concierge to learn more. And tomorrow, Meredith sits down with the mom of the family Michaela nannies for. She will explain why a traditional 9-to-5 daycare was not ideal for their family and how other working families can benefit from hiring a nanny. And make sure you're following our Hiring Hoosiers Facebook page for daily posts about job openings and all our Hiring Hoosiers coverage. Just go to facebook.com and search Hiring Hoosiers. Kevin.
Look at the beautiful view to the west as we just got some wispy clouds there on the horizon and a little bit of the orange glow from the setting sun, which was minutes ago. We're dry tonight and will be first thing in the morning. Temperatures, they'll be above freezing during the day tomorrow. Snow returns, heavy wet snow in the afternoon, changing to some rain from central Indiana south. When I say central Indiana, the line that it changes to rain will be key to the forecast. We'll try to define that for you here as we continue our conversation into the day tomorrow. Hang on one second here. Hit an extra button and we'll get this thing to change. Morning drive will be fine. Snow and rain after 1 o'clock. So the evening commute tomorrow and then on Thursday morning will be a little more challenging. As far as our planner, let's talk about morning hours. Temperatures, they will be above freezing. Temperatures through the day will slowly start to warm from there. Around 30 degrees first thing in the morning. My computer's just locking up. Here we go. I got to be patient with it. 36. It's got a lot running through there. 36 at noon. Afternoon temperatures in the mid-30s. When it starts to snow, often what you see is a temperature drop by a degree or two. The fact that it's above freezing, that will help on the roadways. But remember Sunday, when the snow intensity was so great, it lowered visibility quickly, put a quick cover on the roads. I anticipate the same between, say, 1 and 4. There's your widespread period of heavy wet snow. The transition Terre Haute to Greensburg south, all rain at that point. Then we get to 7 o'clock. Notice how right through Marion County, a rain snow line. There'll be a big range in what happens based on that line. To the north, the accumulating snow. To the south, more in the way of rain. That line still in the metro area hanging out through 11 o'clock. As far as snowfall potential, again, that broader range, 2 to 5 inches still seems to work. That's from the advisory from Indy north. Then to the south, there'll be much less in the way of snowfall. Temperature trend, 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, 36. As we move this along, you'll see then temperatures will fall once then the snow starts to fall, and will start to cool off as a result of the falling snow, but stay above the freezing mark. During the day on Thursday, snow showers, falling temperatures from 32. They fall until they land at 6 degrees on Valentine's morning. Valentine's Day dry and 20. We're back in the 50s early next week.
Vic on 6, back on RTV6. I feel like I've waited forever for this moment. Much like you getting back on the court must have seemed like forever, right?
Yes, definitely. It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming. What have you learned in the 2 weeks that you've been back?
I've learned a lot. Definitely just learning my teammates first and foremost, and the places on the court that they like, and
that's underrated because there's a chemistry out there that you guys are still trying to form.
Yeah, we're trying to definitely form that and get used to each other. And, I don't think people realize, me coming back in, I'm obviously have a strong personality and a strong, game that demands a lot of attention and whatever the case may be. So you got to really adjust to something like that, adding to a team that was, pretty much flowing already, and whatever the case may be. But for the most part, I'm just glad to be playing. I remember a year ago today, I couldn't even walk. So to be able to go out there and just play the game I love is definitely a blessing I'm thankful for.
The underlying theme in all this has been your buddy Domas's play. Another triple-double last night. How has he elevated his game in the last year?
He's played well. The opportunity is there. We've demanded a lot of him. and he's performed at the highest level possible. And we're giving him the opportunity to showcase his talent, and he's doing a great job, man. Just proud of him, honestly. Yeah. Just happy for him. And just because, you know, I have a different type of relationship with him. I've been with him since he's been in the league. So I've seen him from the beginning, since he was just an infant in this NBA world. And now to see him kind of grow, it's like being a big brother, so kind of. So it's awesome, man. And I'm just happy for him.
You've been busy, not only on the court, off the court. A couple weeks ago, when you made your comeback, released the new track.
Telling me it's over now, got me real tight. Ever since you left me, girl, it don't feel right.
IDC.
I don't care yet.
Is that the next evolution in your singing?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is just a little snippet, you know, just giving the people something, you know, to listen to, you know.
People want more, though. You see,
they definitely
just one
do.
Track.
They definitely do want more. In due time, it'll come in due time. Right now, you know, it's basketball season, so
there you go.
We'll see what the music part holds later. But for now, I'm just focused on that behind me. So
absolutely,
I'm looking forward to just getting back out there full throttle.
Enjoy the All-Star break. Now, you're not heading to Cancun or the Bahamas, or what are you going to be doing?
Working out.
Right here, right?
Yeah.
The All-Star break. There is no break for Victor Oladipo. That's Vic. I'm Dave. It's Vic.
On 6. Big time.
All right, game plan for tomorrow. We start dry between 1 and about 4 o'clock is when we'll see then the change. The snow burst arrives. There's your rain snow line right across the metro area at 4 o'clock. This is the latest model run. You can see it's pushing the rain a little more to the north. This will likely change with each model run for a bit, but with that northern push, that would mean less snow in the central and southern portion of the state.
We are back with you for RTV6 News at 7.
We'll see you then.